All right. Good morning, fellow traders, and thank you so much for joining us today for today's live presentation. My name is Greg Lewis. I'm the marketing manager for Metastock, and I'm coming at you from our satellite studio down here deep in the south of Texas. Today's presenter is Anwar Zaheer, coming at you from the UK. His presentation is long, so I can't remember it. It is how he finds stocks outperforming the S&P 500 with the Market Advantage Toolkit. Zaheer has spoken with us many times. He does a great job, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Today's host is Bobby Hiller, coming at you from Salt Lake City. Bobby will be coming on. The presentation will be beginning in about 6 minutes. Before that, let's go ahead and watch this video.
Hi, my name is Kelly Clement, and I am the president here at Metastock. You know, one of the biggest questions I get asked is, what is Metastock, and how can it help me in my trading? Well, if you give me about 3 minutes of your time, I can show you. Metastock is an award-winning software and data package that has been helping traders for over 40 years. Simply put, Metastock is a tool for traders like you to analyze the markets. Metastock works across all asset classes, including stocks, futures, forex, options, crypto, and more. Metastock is designed to help you take the guesswork out of trading by offering a methodical, systematic approach to some key questions all traders come up against. Questions like, how do I decide which securities to trade when there are literally thousands to choose from? Which strategy should I use, and how do I test that strategy before spending my first trading dollar? When should I enter and exit a trade? How can I effectively manage the securities I'm interested in? What are the best options to trade? And of course, how do I know where prices will go next? At the core of Metastock are its power tools. The power tools are designed to give professional-grade analysis tools to private traders. You can scan the market with the Metastock Explorer to filter and sort securities that show buy and sell signals based on your criteria. The Metastock System Tester lets you test most strategies through a process called backtesting. This allows you to see how your strategy would have performed over time. One of Metastock's most powerful tools is its charts. Metastock allows you to navigate through your charts through browser-like tabs, arrange them in ways that you see fit, or group them in layout windows that allow you to quickly access your groups of charts. And then with the Metastock Forecaster, you can even take advantage of patented technology to view probable future prices. If you're an options trader, well, you're going to love OptionScope. OptionScope puts all the critical information at your fingertips, displaying sortable, customizable, color-coded options data, even including the Greeks. You can then take this data and analyze your options with the built-in strategies with risk-reward graphs. And Metastock has solutions for traders of all levels and interests. If you're just getting into trading, you'll appreciate the education offered by our many built-in systems. In addition to pointing out buy and sell signals, Metastock explains how they work in an easy-to-follow commentary window. Metastock has systems based off of popular strategies, things like MACD, Bollinger Bands, turtle trading, candle patterns, and many more. Metastock even has the very popular and exclusive Rahul Mohindar oscillator system, or simply known as the RMO. As you become a more experienced trader, Metastock grows with you. Advanced analysts will enjoy the comprehensive list of trading systems and indicators and the ability to create, build, and test their own systems. And if you're a day trader, you can't do better than Zenith, the real-time news, data, and analysis package powered by LSEG, a world leader in market data. Zenith is a comprehensive and flexible system with an extremely powerful search tool, which includes fundamental and economic data. Add on our world-class support, and it's not hard to see why Metastock has won the Stocks and Commodities Reader's Choice Award for 35 consecutive years. To find out more about Metastock and how it can help you in your trading, visit metastock.com or contact a product professional via phone, email, or chat.
All right, thanks so much for watching that. We'll be getting started here in about 1 minute and 49 seconds. A couple things I need to mention. One, again, today's speaker is Zaheer Anwari, and he's going to be talking about how he finds stocks outperforming the S&P 500 with the Market Advantage Toolkit. I know you're going to enjoy that. Stick around for just another minute and a half, and it'll get started. Excuse me. Couple things. We do have right now Black Friday in July with deals that are even better than that other Black Friday. To check that out, go to metastock.com, and there's a big, large banner right at the top that says Black Friday in July. Click it and check out all those deals. I know you won't want to miss that. Another thing, please, if you don't mind, like and subscribe. That way you'll be reminded if you click that bell when we have live events like this, which we do several times a week usually. Also, don't forget to, where am I? We do appreciate your participation. Go ahead and ask questions and comment and anything you like. We welcome all interactivity. We just ask that you be respectful and polite to the presenters and your fellow viewers. All right, other than that, we got about 30 more seconds. I'm going to let you listen to some jazzy music while I make sure Bobby is good to go on his end. And thanks so much again. Successful trading.
Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. It looks like we have quite the international audience here in GoToWebinar and on YouTube. Today we have a very special presentation. We have one of my favorite speakers coming on, Zaheer, and he's going to be talking kind of about the markets and how he's kind of outperformed the S&P 500. And definitely want everyone to stick around today because we're also doing Black Friday in July here at Metastock, which means you can get some great offers on Metastock or any of the systems if you guys think it's going to help you with your trading. Before I dive too deep into things, I do quickly have to go through this security disclaimer. So today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and the accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or information provided in connection with the company. And Metastock does not endorse the purchase of any security, nor is it paid for the promotion of any security. No information contained in this presentation should be construed as investment advice or a solicitation to buy any security. So basically today's session, we are just here to teach you guys about Metastock and some of the systems in there and talk about the markets. We're not giving you any recommendations to buy or sell security. Today's guest speaker, we have Zaheer Anwari. I know I should probably update this image. I caught you at a spot on your video that you gave to us. But Zaheer, I know you're in here. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you this evening, I guess I should say, for you?
Yeah, hi, Bobby. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
Hey, doing really well here. Been having a busy morning, but that's kind of how I like it. I like to stay busy. Yeah. I'm excited to see what you have to present for us today. And good. I guess, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the reins over to you and let you kind of take things over.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. You should be getting a pop-up to share your screen. All right. Yeah, I can see it there.
Okay, fantastic. We're good to go?
Yep, you should be all good to go. I'll go ahead and get out of your hair, but if you need anything, myself and Greg are in the background to help.
Excellent, thank you. Right, hi guys. Glad to have you all on the training, I guess it is today. I'd like you guys to see this as a training session. Welcome to guys on GoToWebinar, and I know there's people joining live on YouTube as well. And of course, thank you very much to Metastock for always inviting me to these fantastic training days, not just the multi-speaker events, but these sort of one-off events as well that I have the pleasure of doing for you guys as well. So thank you, Metastock. All right, let's dive in, guys. Really sort of important message that I want to share with you guys today, which is about how I find stocks, top stocks, outperforming the S&P 500 using what we have developed for Metastock, which we call the Market Advantage Toolkit. So a breakdown of today, a very brief background of myself and how the Market Advantage Toolkit came about. We'll then look at some of the stocks and their performance since 2023. Now, I say 2023, I've been investing for over a decade, but I'm going to focus predominantly on 2023 because that's when we had the end of the decline in 2022 in the S&P 500. We had a 28% decline, and then we've had a massive bull run since October, November, December, January of 2023. So we'll look at those stocks and how they've performed and how we found those stocks using the Market Advantage Toolkit, and then we'll end up with a Q&A. All right, so let's dive straight in. Just a quick background of my CV, if you like. I actually have a degree in software engineering. So what I want you guys to take away from that is I've never worked for an institution, a hedge fund, or a bank, or worked in the city. I don't have a degree in finance or economics. I have a degree in software engineering, which is really where my interest in the tech side of trading came in, and my interest in Metastock and being able to develop tools. It was really my software engineering background that helped me lay that foundation. I worked for Oracle for a year, so Larry Ellison's Oracle. What I found was that if you're going to work a 9 to 5, you've got to really make sure that you enjoy what you're doing. And I realized that when I went into employment, I absolutely had no interest in working as a software engineer and working 9 to 5. So what I did was I became a TEFL teacher. TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language. I lived in Asia, in Taiwan predominantly, but I had stints in Japan and the Philippines as well, teaching English. Absolutely loved it. But if you guys have taught abroad, you'll realize there's not much money in it. So when I came back to London, I worked in advertising photography. So photography was always my passion growing up. My dad was a keen photographer. I set up a collective between two other guys, and we got into advertising photography. And that's really when the money started coming in. And that's also at the weekends, I was teaching English to Japanese businessmen here in London. So I was working quite a lot during my 20s, often 7 days a week, and I was making quite a lot of money. I was saving a lot of that money. And that's when I started looking at investing in the early sort of 2000s. I looked at day trading like everyone else, didn't really get anywhere with it. I found it very difficult, very inconsistent, very stressful, just a lot of energy for very, very little reward. So that was around 2004, 2005, 2006. It was 2007 when I discovered trend following. If you haven't read Way of the Turtle by Curtis Faith, I highly recommend reading this book. It was a complete game changer for me. So trend following came about for me in 2007. And since then, I have never looked back. Co-founded Sublime Trading in 2018. That's where we teach and train and mentor the professionals in our community to invest in the stock market and have better performing portfolios. Ultimately, people, I'm sure there's people on here right now, you've got a stock market portfolio, you're on here because you know that there's ways that you can improve and boost your performance. And that's where a lot of our members come to us at Sublime Trading. They're really looking to push their performance from single digits to double digit, maybe even triple digit returns. And then last year in 2023, I had my hedge fund, the Reversy fund, incorporated in Luxembourg. So for a hedge fund to be set up in Luxembourg, guys, you've got to have a track record. That track record has to be audited. And it was in November of last year when we took our first positions for our investors in the Reversy fund. So you can see the progression from where I started in software engineering all the way through to now a hedge fund manager. My point is this, guys, if I can do this, anyone can do this. You've just got to have the desire and the desire to, of course, want to learn to do this, but more importantly, want to do it correctly. There's a lot of methodologies out there, and often they're based around quick riches and easy wins. What you want is a system that is simple to learn, simple to execute, and that is repeatable year in, year out for the next 20 years. And that is something that I was looking for, something that could adapt around the hours I was doing in photography, the hours when I was working at the weekends as a teacher. There wasn't anything out there. And so I ended up creating my own system, which we call the Market Advantage Toolkit. My goal was really to put trend following back in the limelight. Why? Because it became a forgotten art form with lesser strategies taking center stage. So, you know, as I said, day trading, swing trading, we hear a lot about it. We hear a lot about Warren Buffett's value investing. Yet trend following seems to have been totally forgotten. And all of these sort of lesser strategies take center stage. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at this performance table, this is taken from Excess Returns, a comparative study of the methods of the world's greatest investors. It's there in the bottom right. It's a book that you guys can order and have a read as well. If you look in the top of the performance table, particularly at the very top there, Richard Dennis, trend follower, his returns were 120% over 19 years. Now, people often say, if you look at Warren Buffett is mid-table. Warren Buffett has achieved 23% over 54 years. And people often say, well, you know, it's Warren Buffett's longevity that makes him special. Yes, of course, 54 years is a huge achievement, but I don't think people want to knock 120% over 19 years. Most people, when they get into investing, their time horizon is often 10, 15, 20 years because they're looking to catch up with lost time. They're getting closer to their retirement years. So they're looking at a 20-year period. They're not looking at a 50-year period. So I would not knock what Richard Dennis achieved over a 19-year period. And that's really what I gravitated towards when I came across the table, and why trend following was something that made absolute sense to me. Since my journey, since 2012, 2013, I took to social media to sort of showcase my study and my journey. And over the years, my message has been picked up, and I've been in a blessed position to be able to speak and present and contribute to these wonderful publications that you see in front of you. Of course, there's Metastock, which I now have a wonderful relationship with, and very proud of the relationship that we have developed. So again, as I said, guys, from the humble beginnings, if you like, of someone who knew nothing to now being a speaker on a global stage, if I can do this, anyone can do it. It's just about that desire to want to do things properly and correctly. Okay, so let's get into the meat on the bones. 2023 was the start of the bull market. I mentioned this a few minutes ago. We had a 28% decline in the S&P 500 in 2022. October 2022, the market found support. And since then, we've had this rally, this massive rally in the stock market, which, let's be fair, guys, has caught most people off guard. Most people have failed to capitalize on this bull market. They've just stood aside watching it happen and unfold, watching stocks pushing higher and higher and higher and higher, and ultimately missing out on trends and profit and a portfolio that has performed. So we want to make sure that that never happens again, because what has happened over the last 12, 18 months is not uncommon. This pattern repeats again and again and again. You need to make sure that you are positioned to capitalize on these moves each time they happen. So we're going to go through right now the stocks that I have found, some of the stocks I have found using the Market Advantage Toolkit, the MAT. So let's start with Amphenol. Now notice, guys, some of these companies you may not be familiar with, but what you want to understand is how massive these companies are in terms of stock performance and how well they have performed over the last 12, 18 months. Amphenol, I'm based here in the UK. These are US stocks. So a lot of these companies that are being picked up by Metastock through the scanners and explorers, these are new companies to me. So when I find them, I go and do a brief bit of research. I realize how huge these companies are, and then get an idea of why their stocks perform so well. Amphenol has climbed 56% since last year. Boston Scientific has climbed 41% since last year. Elf Beauty has climbed a massive 230% since last year. FTAI Aviation has climbed 251% since last year. GoDaddy, you guys will all be familiar with GoDaddy, the domain, the company where you can buy domains from. That's climbed 56%. I mean, no one's talking about GoDaddy. You go online, you go into social media, no one's talking about GoDaddy. Everyone's talking about NVIDIA, of course, because of AI, but no one is talking about GoDaddy. And it's a massive company. As an investor, you have to be aware of which stocks are moving and then put a portfolio, a well-diversified portfolio around these good stocks. GoDaddy has climbed 56% since last year. McKesson Corporation. Now, this is a stock that I have mentioned numerous times on these presentations that I've done with Metastock. This has climbed 140% since 2022. So when the S&P 500 declined 28%, healthcare stocks and energy stocks, those two sectors were moving up. So we built a portfolio at a reduced risk around those stocks, and that really helped to offset some of the losses and keep our portfolio at a very manageable level. And since then, McKesson Corporation has gone on to rally to just under $600 a share. And of course, NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA has rallied 500%. If you guys cast your minds back to the start of last year, you had Cathie Wood, who came out on social media and said that she's dumped her NVIDIA shares because she doesn't believe. Now, this is important. She doesn't believe that the stock has any further upside potential. Now, of course, that must be one of her biggest regrets, because NVIDIA has gone on to not only rally by 500, 600%, but it has also gone through a 10-to-1 stock split. Of course, everyone is familiar with NVIDIA, but what we want is to understand how to turn NVIDIA into more than a buzzword that everyone is talking about and into a stock that is well managed in your portfolio. I've been in and out of NVIDIA since 2016. So NVIDIA has been in my portfolio well before the buzz came about. And again, that's because of Metastock and understanding how to scan the market and look for the right setups. Wingstop, chicken wings, guys. I mean, I don't think we have a Wingstop here in the UK, if I'm correct, but I'm assuming Wingstop is a massive chain in America. It's climbed 70% since last year. Who would have thought, right? What you want, and this is, it's an interesting conversation I had the other day. I don't know if you guys, how many people have been through Dubai Mall. Dubai Mall is absolutely massive, but any sort of mall that you walk through, what's interesting as an investor is walking through a mall and looking at the companies and the brand names and going, oh, I've invested in that company. That's in my portfolio. That isn't in my portfolio. That should be in my portfolio. Oh, that's not a good stock to have in your portfolio. Shopping becomes a whole different experience when you're walking through a mall and you can see the companies that are in your portfolio, have been in your portfolio, or that you wouldn't touch with a barge pole. Again, it all comes down to being able to understand how to find these stocks, when to have them in your portfolio, and how to manage them. Wingstop climbed by 70%. And we've also used the Market Advantage Toolkit to find and invest in not just stocks, but also commodities. So we're currently long on gold. We've been long on gold since March when it started printing new all-time highs. We've been short on palladium since last year. Palladium's price has been tanking. So we've been short on palladium. And we're also long on several Japanese yen pairs, the pound yen, dollar yen, euro yen. The yen has been weakening for a number of years. So it's important to diversify the portfolio with trending assets from other classes. This is, again, also a hallmark of a good investor, not just knowing where the trends are, but also then narrowing down to the very best trends from the different asset classes and building portfolios around them. The MAT and Metastock excels at finding these trends when you know what you're looking for. Okay, so just to give you an idea of the performance, we started taking our positions, our first positions, in February 2023. Now, in our Sublime Trading community, we have a particular service called the APL, the Asset Position Log. And ultimately, it's a replica of all the stocks that are going into our portfolio. And what that does is that it allows our community members to see the stocks in our portfolio and to copy along. So at the back end, they, of course, understand the process through the video syllabus that we have created and the training they get. But ultimately, what people want are results. They don't want a flashy bit of kit with colors all over it. What they want is to take the right software, translate that into returns. So what we do is we actually share our portfolio for them to copy. So all the stocks that we're finding using the MAT, the Market Advantage Toolkit, and Metastock, we share with our community members for them to copy. We started taking our now this APL, I should explain, the APL is based on a £20,000 account or a $20,000 account. The reason why it's 20,000 is because that's usually the very minimum that our community members start with. Some start with 100,000. We have community members who've started with millions because they have millions. Everyone starts with whatever they can afford. The very minimum is 20,000. So based on a £20,000 account, we started taking our positions in February when the bull run started. As of this week, as of today, the current running P&L on a £20,000 account is around £17,000. So the return on investments, the profit that we've accumulated as a percentage is 89%, almost 90%. So if you had a £100,000 account or $100,000 account, your running P&L would be 90,000. If you had 1 million, it'd be 900,000. So you can see the strength of finding these trending stocks that are outperforming the market, holding them, compounding them, and then potentially taking profit, rebalancing the portfolio. It's taken us February, March, April, May, June, July. It's taken us 17 months to return 89%. Now, use the MAT to invest in trending stocks that are outperforming the S&P 500. Now, what does that mean? Well, first of all, the S&P 500 is an average. So if you invest in the average, such as a tracker fund, you will get an average return of the stock market over a number of years. Let's say that average is 10%, 11% a year. Some stocks will match the average. Some stocks will underperform against the average, but there will be many, many stocks that outperform the average. These are the stocks that we want to find and invest in. So if we look at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 has climbed 60% since 2002's low. So the lowest point of 2002, the S&P 500 has climbed 60%. Now, if we look at some of the stocks that I shared earlier, Elf Beauty has climbed 230%. FTI Aviation has climbed 251%. McKesson Corporation, 140%. NVIDIA, 500%. Wingstop, 70%. So you can see these are just a few examples of stocks that we found and invested in that are outperforming the S&P 500. Now, what does that mean? That means that they are moving up quicker, delivering superior returns over a 12 to 8 month period. So I'm going to say that again, guys. If you invest in the average, you're going to get average returns. As investors, if we want to get superior returns, we've got to have a system that can find stocks that are performing better than the average. And there will be stocks during every period of trend that are outperforming the average. And those are the stocks as investors that we've got to be able to find, invest, compound, manage for maximum returns. Now, stocks found by the market, by the MAT, the Market Advantage Toolkit, all follow a particular pattern, which we call the 4PS method. Now, over the years, there have been many, many different ways of counting waves in the market. You've got Elliott waves, for example. You've got Fibonacci extension. You've got Ichimoku clouds. You've got various methods and philosophies that people have created and used to count waves in the market. I always found those systems to be very, very subjective and always missed out on the complete trend. So I developed something called the 4PS method. So what does the 4PS method mean? Every stock I invest in has 4 distinct phases. So the 4PS method is called the 4-phase sequence method. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then phase 4. Phase 1 is a stock with a proven performance. If a stock has performed well in the past, it's very likely to perform well in the future. It's all about stacking the odds in your favor. So I'm looking for stocks that have at least 5 to 10 years of history. If a stock has 5 to 10 years of history, I can go look at that stock and I can then see how well it's performed. And if it's performed well, I can consider it. If it hasn't performed well, I can dump it. Phase one. Phase two is a consolidation base. I'm looking for at least 3 to 6 months of sideways market. You know the expression, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout. Often these expressions, they're just well regurgitated phrases. People don't really know how to use them. So we've got to move away from them being just theory and words to actually implementation and execution. So what we're looking for is a consolidation. Think of these as roots of a tree. The thicker and stronger the roots of a tree, the taller the tree will grow. This is how you want to see a consolidation base. The longer the consolidation, the bigger the next move to the upside. Then what we're looking for is a breakout from that consolidation. So that's phase three. Now we've got to be a little bit careful here. This is where a little bit of patience comes in, because with phase three, what can happen is a fake breakout. And a fake breakout is where it moves back into phase two. So we want to avoid that. So some patience must come in. And the way the patience comes in is simple. We have to allow for a little bit of movement to the upside and further climb to the upside to confirm the start of phase four. And it's this phase four, which is the new trend, which typically lasts 12 to 18 months. So all of those stocks that I've shared earlier, ELF, NVIDIA, Amphenol, Wingstop, they are all phase four stocks that are trending, and they've been trending for many, many, many months. What we do is we use the MAT, the Market Advantage Toolkit, to find all phase three and phase four stocks. Phase three stocks, those that are breaking out, will go onto one watch list, and then phase four will go onto another watch list. When phase three confirms phase four, those stocks will then move on to the phase four watch list. And when phase four has been completely confirmed, I then add them into the portfolio. So there is a consistent sort of system. This is where a bit of time and analysis and routine comes in. But ultimately, what we're looking for are stocks that are moving from phase two to phase three for the initial watch list, and then phase three to phase four to add into the portfolio. Remember, guys, there's 20,000 stocks in the stock market. If you don't have a good scanner like Metastock to make light work of that, you will always be struggling to find the right stocks. And then what people tend to do is go online, see the stocks that everyone is talking about, and then build a portfolio around those stocks. We've got to have a proper systematic approach. We don't want to leave it to social media and hearsay and opinions, particularly opinions. Opinions have a very long history of getting people on the wrong side of the market. We have to focus on the market itself, let that dictate us, and then have a system to align with the market and find the best stocks in those market conditions. So the question is, how do we do this? Let's switch over to Metastock. Okay, Bobby, if you feel there are any sort of timely questions, then feel free to come through, else I will just continue and then we can go through those questions at the end. So this is Metastock for...
So here.
Yes, Bobby.
There's a couple that actually just came in, so I'll just ask them real quick.
Good.
All right, so this was a little earlier, but someone asked, or someone said, let's see here. What keeps your positions open and ride the trend? Say it's not easy psychologically?
Great question. We're going to cover all of that now as I show you the tools that we have developed for Metastock.
Okay, perfect. And then the same person asked just now, well, they mentioned value investing is perceived to be relatively safer. How do you limit the downside risk in trend trading?
Yeah, we're going to cover all of that as well. It's all down to risk management and exit management.
Perfect. All right. Those are the only questions I see so far.
Fantastic. Great questions. Let's get into them and we'll answer those questions. So for regular users of Metastock, you will know that Metastock have upgraded have upgraded Metastock, so it has a new look to it. For new people who haven't subscribed to Metastock as yet, guys, get on it. I believe there'll be some great deals for Black Friday. It's definitely worth a try. And I can tell you this from my software engineering days and over the last sort of 10, 15 years, I have used a lot of platforms, a lot. There isn't anything that I haven't tried, tested, thrown money at. There is a reason why Metastock is part of the foundation of what we do. And really and truly, guys, Metastock is instrumental to how we had our hedge fund set up in Luxembourg last year. Without Metastock, we wouldn't have the portfolio performance that's been audited. So definitely worth checking out. So how does Metastock work? Well, in the top left corner, you've got this P. That is the power console. So I'm going to click that open. And this is what you are presented with. Now, there's a number of functions on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on Explore. Explore are the scanners, the inbuilt scanners within Metastock. And I'm just going to scroll down to the scanners that we have developed over here. So anything with MAT. Right, so what you will see, guys, is that we have developed a scanner for virtually every scenario. I'm not going to go through all of them. They are all fully explained in a manual that you get with the Market Advantage Toolkit. And if you move your mouse over each scanner, Explorer, it tells you what each one does. But I'm just going to go through the main ones that I like to use. First of all, you'll notice that we have some with BO and some with PB. So the two scans that I like to do predominantly are breakouts and pullbacks. The market has a seasonal movement to it. So there's certain times of the year where the market is moving very, very quickly. So you want to scan for breakouts. And then there are certain times of the year where the market will start pulling back. And so that's where the pullback scanners come in. So we have breakout scanners and we have pullback scanners. You'll also notice that some of them have UK before it, and some of them have US before it. So the UK scanners can be used for other small to mid cap markets. So for example, the NSE in India, the National Stock Exchange of India, we also use the UK scanners to scan the Indian stock market for our Indian community members. And of course, the US scanners are used for the US market and other large cap markets. What we do, and what I like, this is a new feature as well, is in the top here, you can see there's another tab called favorites. What it allows me to do is to favorite the scanners that I use the most. So what you can see is that breakout signals and pullback signals, breakout signals for UK markets and breakout signals for US markets. These are the two scanners that I am using the most right now, given market conditions. You probably all can see that the market is moving very, very quickly at the moment. The Dow Jones yesterday printed a new all-time high for the first time in a few months. That is now aligned with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So what we have is alignment. When the indices align and start printing record highs, we are entering very, very interesting territory where we will see the stock market start shooting ahead. So just to give you an idea of some of the explorers that I like to use, if I just move this back up. So when I look at the US market, I scan the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, and the Amex. And when I'm looking at the London market, we have here the London Stock Exchange. You can see there's almost 6,000 stocks that Metastock will go through. Guys, I can tell you, Metastock will go through it in less than 5 minutes, 6,000 stocks, and give you a much more manageable list to then manually analyze. And that will depend on how busy the markets are. Yesterday, the scanner for the US market, the Explorers, the Donchian 40 Explorer for the US market, this one right here, picked up 502 breakouts, 502 breakouts. On a normal day, it will be anywhere between 150 to 200 breakouts. Yesterday, the scanner picked up 500 breakouts. So I manually had to go through 500 stocks to find the very best. Believe me, it's not as hard or as difficult as you may think. It may take an hour or two, but it's worth it in terms of the returns that will be achieved by having a systematic approach like this. And then just one other market to show you guys for the Indian members that may be on here. If we go to Equities Asia, The markets that we like to scan here are the National Stock Exchange of India. You can see there's almost 3,000 stocks. So combined, if you look at the Indian stock market, the UK stock market, and the US stock market, and then commodities and currencies, you're looking at over 20,000 assets that we use Metastock to scan through on a daily and a weekly basis. And that is how we find all those amazing stocks. I haven't even got the time to show you some of the Indian stocks that we have found. For those of you guys following the Indian stock market, it has absolutely been booming since last year. And there have been stocks that have moved up 200, 300% that we have found using these scanners. And the Indian stock market is a new market for me. So having Metastock has been fundamental to finding these stocks. Okay, so once we find those stocks, we then do the scan, let Metastock run, and it will take, depending on which market, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes to go through the scans. And then the scanner will produce a more manageable list of stocks to go through. And these will all be produced in the report. You can then save them. And let's say if you go to the quote center, you can then find all of those stocks lined up in the quote center. Here are the stocks that I'm going to go through, that some of the stocks that the scanner has picked up in recent days, and I'm going to go through them with you today. Okay, so then let's move over to charts. Once we've found those stocks that the scanner has picked up, we then want to start doing a manual analysis of those stocks. I'm going to start with the S&P 500, and I'm going to explain to you how I stay aligned with the S&P 500. When everyone else is calling a market top, you hear it all the time on social media, the stock market can't go any higher. And then lo and behold, the stock market keeps on printing new all-time highs. So how do we do that? Well, I have developed a bunch of tools to keep me aligned with the market. This is my 4-screen setup that I use. In the top left, I have the monthly time frame. In the top right, I have the weekly time frame. And then I have 2 daily time frames, bottom left and bottom right. The monthly, the weekly, and the daily, these are my analysis time frames. What I'm looking for is multi-time frame alignment. And what I mean by that is I want to see all 3 time frames moving in the same direction. If the monthly, the weekly, and the daily are all aligned, we have a direction, and we want to then start taking positions. As I said before, I don't invest or trade the S&P 500. It's simply a guide. What I'm looking for are stocks that are outperforming the S&P to invest in. But everything starts with looking at the indices and the index to ensure that the market conditions are correct. Now, there is a bunch of indicators on the monthly, there's a bunch of indicators on the weekly, and there's a bunch of indicators on the daily. So let's start with the monthly, just to give you guys a general sort of overview of what's happening on each time frame. First of all, you'll notice that there's a solid green line and a solid red line. The solid green line, these are 2 lines here, solid green line and a solid red line. The solid green line is the highest point of last year, and the solid red line is the lowest point of last year. So the high and the low of 2023. If an asset, any asset, is trading above the highest point of last year, it has a bullish bias to it. So you can see that the S&P 500 has been bullish since January of this year, when it started printing new all-time highs. All the other levels, these dotted lines, these are key levels of support and resistance. The S&P 500 is trading above all of these key levels of support and resistance and the highest point of last year, and it's printing new all-time highs. When these conditions are met, Metastock will produce a ribbon here at the bottom saying bullish. So the software is confirming that we are in a bull market. You also have, if you go to view and expert commentary, what's beautiful about Metastock is that everything is programmed bar by bar by bar. You can see here there's a upside down triangle on the current bar. If I move to the next bar, that triangle moves across, keeps on moving. So what the commentary is doing is giving you a bar by bar commentary of what is happening on that particular bar. So you've got this almost voice in your head that's keeping you aligned with the market. So the monthly is bullish. Now, if we go to the weekly, if I open up the weekly time frame, now on the weekly time frame, We also have a bunch of indicators. First of all, you'll notice the bar colors. The bar colors are either green, gray, or red. If the bars are green, which they have been since November of last year, that means we are in a confirmed bull trend. We've got other key levels of support and resistance. We've also got the 50 and the 200 simple moving averages. When the market confirms a bullish environment on the S&P 500, you can see that the ribbon at the bottom also says bullish. So what we have here, going back to what I said earlier, is that multi-time frame alignment. The monthly and the weekly are both aligned because it's bullish on the monthly, it's bullish on the weekly. So what we're looking for now is that final confirmation that we're in a bull market by coming down to the daily time frame. If I open up the daily time frame, you'll notice here at the bottom, there's a ribbon that says bullish. And that's because we have the same conditions that we have on the weekly on the daily time frame. The way I like to describe the weekly and the daily is that weekly is big sister and the daily is little sister. Whatever big sister is doing, we want little sister to be following. So if you notice, the bars are green, they're above the moving averages, they're above all the key levels of support and resistance. The indicator, the subchart indicator here at the bottom that we've developed, that's also confirming a bullish trend. The ribbon is saying bullish. Now, the parameters to the indicators at the back end of the MAT are all explained in the commentary and also explained in a very detailed manual that you get with the Market Advantage Toolkit. So this isn't a black box system. You aren't blindly following along. This is where also a lot of people go wrong. You go online and you see people buying signals or black box system that guarantees 90% success rate. The problem with these black box systems is, first of all, they're back tested. Back tested is different to proven performance. Back tested is simply manipulating indicators to get the highest return on past performance. But if you replicate that going forward, black box systems always fail. And people don't know why they're failing because they don't know the indicators that have been programmed into the black box system. You want to move away from that. I've used them myself, guys. I know how they fail. What we have here is a system that is transparent and that where all the parameters are explained, so you know precisely how to behave at any moment in time. So what we have here is alignment, and the S&P 500, the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, these timeframes have been aligned since the start of the year. So we are very much in a bull market. The daily in the bottom right also has a wonderful feature. If I open up the daily in the bottom right, you'll notice that the bars are blue. And the bars are blue when we do have that multi-time frame alignment. When the monthly, the weekly, and the daily are all aligned, the daily in the bottom right will confirm that by turning the bars blue. In a bear market, the bars will turn purple, telling you that we're in strong bearish conditions. So if we looked at palladium, we'd have purple bars. Okay, now there are other things on here. You'll see these diamonds and there are some dotted lines. This will answer the questions that the gentleman asked earlier about entry points and stop losses. That's all here on the daily in the bottom right. But for me to show you how to use them, I'm actually going to move to one of the stocks. So looking at the S&P 500, we're quite clearly in a bull market. You guys know that. If you're following the stock market, you know the market is bullish. There's no disputing that. What we want to understand is, what do we invest in? What stocks do I buy? This is one of the key questions that people want to ask, and they all often struggle to find answers to. So let's move to some of the stocks in this list. So I'm going to start with the very first list, which is Apple. The very first stock on the list, which is Apple. Okay. So let's do the analysis. I'll do a deep dive into Apple and then a quicker analysis of the other stocks once you understand what's happening here. So let's start with Apple on the monthly time frame. Remember the 4-phase sequence method, guys, that I explained earlier? Right. If you look at Apple, phase one is this big bull run from 2019 through to 2022. Massive bull run. I believe that was something like 400%. From 2022 through to the breakout last month, it was stuck in a sideways market, which is phase two. Phase three is the breakout, which happened last month. Phase 4 has now been confirmed. The market is moving up, and we are now long on Apple. We've added Apple into the portfolio. And if you look here, there is a ribbon, green ribbon, confirming that we are in a bullish market. Of course, to see the word bullish, that ribbon has to be long enough, but there's a green ribbon here confirming that we are in a bull market. Apple is printing new all-time highs. It's a stock that you want to have in your portfolio. If we go to the weekly time frame, you'll notice that on the weekly time frame, similar to what we had with the S&P 500, the bars are green, confirming a bull trend. Notice that they were green and red prior to that. When an asset is going sideways, the indicators will confirm that by having a trend filter that alternates between green, gray, and red. It kind of looks like the Italian flag. When you're in a sideways market, that is what you will see. When you are in a trend, so if we go back to this period here, you'll notice that this 400% move to the upside, the trend filter remained green even through the pullbacks. So even when the market was pulling back, the trend filter remained green, telling us that this is just a pullback for now. So this will answer one of the questions. This will answer the question that came up earlier, which is the psychology of investing. When the market is pulling back, how do you know if it's a pullback or a complete reversal? Well, first of all, you don't. That's why you want to always risk small, 1%, 2% per position. You always want to have a well-placed stop loss. But secondly, you want to have the right tools that will keep you aligned with the market. So looking at Apple, we have the trend filter is green. It's above the moving averages. It's also printing new all-time highs. Something that I look for, guys, are stocks that are printing new all-time highs. So that base, that phase 2, and then the breakout into phase 3, that phase 3 breakout is often a new all-time high. And the reason for that is because they are the stocks that tend to move the quickest, because there's no resistance above price forcing it down. The problem with value investing stocks that are cheap, dropping in price, first, they tend to keep on dropping. Secondly, they've got to work their way back up, and working their way back up can be very difficult because there's lots of resistance levels above price. When a stock is printing new all-time highs, there's no resistance above price, and so it moves the quickest and over 12 to 18 months, delivering excellent returns. So the philosophy for me is buy high, sell higher. I don't subscribe to the buy low, sell high philosophy. You'll notice that the ribbon says bullish in the bottom right corner. So that is aligned with the monthly time frame. And then a quick look at the daily time frame. You can see that the bars are green, above the moving averages, and the ribbon also is bullish. So we have that multi-time frame alignment. The monthly, the weekly, and daily are aligned. If we go to the daily in the bottom right corner, the no ribbon here. What we have are the bars. They are blue, and they've been blue since the 11th of June, when the monthly, weekly, and daily all aligned, and we can see that we have a nice trend in play. Once we have that, the question then is, where do you enter? Well, the software is giving that for you. You can see the little diamonds. It's giving you the entry points. Entry point here, entry point here. You'll notice that there are also other entry points when the bars aren't blue, but they are little circles. What they're telling you is that you could enter here, but this is a low probability entry point. So the software is distinguishing between low probability and high probability. And again, this is all explained in the manual, but it's also explained in the expert commentary. So the commentary is telling you when to enter and what not to enter based on the quality of the breakout signal. Now, if we look at the most recent breakout signal, which is this one here from the 15th of July, you'll notice that there is a green line. That green line is the entry point. So the software is actually telling you where to enter. You've got your level, your target level, where you want the stock to move towards. Now, this isn't a hard level where I take profit. I'm a trend follower. What I'm looking for is the stock to keep on moving. And if it keeps on moving over 12 to 18 months, I'm not taking profit. Instead, I'm going to do something very special, which is known as compounding. So when this stock gets to this level here, I add more of this stock into the portfolio. So I keep on buying more of a winning stock. So you've actually got your compound levels marked on the chart as well. And then this red line here is the initial stop loss. Between the entry and the stop loss, I do not risk more than 1 to 2% of my portfolio on any one position. Now, a question you may be asking is, how is the stop loss calculated? The stop loss is calculated using an ATR formula, average true range. Why ATR is so good is because every stock has its own ATR. So the stop loss is unique to the volatility of that asset. So let's look at something like Microsoft. Microsoft may move $7 a week, whereas you compare that to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA may move $20 a week. So what you want is a stop loss that caters for that difference. First of all, a $5 stop loss is not going to work on both of them. But a $15 stop loss will work on Microsoft, but a $15 stop loss is not going to work on NVIDIA if NVIDIA moves $20 a week. So what you want is to be smart with how you calculate your stop losses. Again, this is all explained in the commentary. It's also explained in the manual, very, very detailed manual that comes with it. Now, I'm just going to compress the charts because what I also want to show you is this dotted red line. This dotted red line is the trailing stop loss. And that trailing stop loss is how I managed to stay in positions for 12 to 18 months. You can see it for yourself, guys, just looking at it from this point here, where we had this initial breakout in May. Since May, the stock has moved up quite considerably, but it hasn't gone anywhere near the trailing stop loss. Again, that trailing stop loss is wide enough to allow for a trend to develop and unfold over many, many, many months. Okay, that's Apple. Let's move on to the next few stocks. I'm going to do a much quicker sort of analysis. I'm just conscious of time. Okay, next stock is Brown & Brown. Guys, just give me a second. I'm just going to grab a bit of water. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, the next stock is Brown & Brown. You'll notice that it has a green ribbon on the monthly, it has a green ribbon on the weekly, and it also has a green ribbon on the daily. If we go to the daily in the bottom right corner, and if I open that up, we have the blue bars confirming that we have a trend in play. Now, sometimes it loses that. That's okay. That's because there's a pullback. Sometimes those pullbacks are deeper than we would want. But overall, the trend this trend filter over the bars is blue, confirming that we have multi-time frame alignment. Again, we have the entry points. You've got your entry point, your stop loss, and you have your target level. And if I compress the chart, you have the trailing stop loss that handles the trend when it's in play. So you can see that here, when that trend first happened, we had the pullback, which hit the trailing stop loss. This is where you may consider wanting to exit your positions, depending on how aggressive or conservative you want to be. If you weren't as aggressive and exited there and applied some patience based on looking at what the S&P 500 is doing, you can see that the stock would have recovered. So there is an element of applying some kind of discretion based on your experience. As you get into trend following, you'll understand that actually giving stocks the time and space to move is how wealth is created over a lengthy period of time. The less you play around with your stop losses, the better. Okay, let's move on to the next stock. The next stock is Moody's MCO. This is a stock that, again, we have recently added into our portfolio. I'm just going to open up the monthly just to show you the four-phase sequence method. Phase one, from 2016 all the way through to 2021. That's a 5-year run. How well it's performed in the past is a reflection of what could happen in the future. This is why you want these big dog stocks with 5 to 10 years of history. It then went through this long consolidation. We've then had the recent breakout, phase 3, and now it's in phase 4. And you can see that we have the green ribbon confirming that this is trending and in phase 4. We have that phase 4 confirmation on the weekly with the green ribbon And we also have that phase 4 trend confirmation on the daily saying bullish. So we are bullish on the monthly, weekly, and the daily. And if I open up the daily in the bottom right, you can see, guys, how well this has trended. Look at all the high probability entry points, the diamonds. When the diamonds are in play, what you have is a stock that is moving very, very well in the right market conditions. And of course, you have the entry, the stop loss, the risk levels, the trailing stop losses, all there for you on the chart. What you then need to do is simply take those values and put them into your broker account. Okay, just another couple more stocks. We've already gone through the S&P 500. Let's move on to the T-Mobile. I think this might be the last stock. T-Mobile US. Massive company, guys. T-Mobile US. I was looking into this yesterday. They have they're the largest telecommunications company in the world with a market cap of almost $200 billion. Absolutely massive. And of course, they have a stock performance that matches that. Really good performance history, long period of consolidation, breaking out, printing new all-time highs. So this is now moved from phase 3 to phase 4. And this is a stock that we have shared with our community members. You can see that it says bullish on the monthly, bullish on the weekly. We have bullish ribbon on the daily. So we have that multi-time frame alignment. When you have that multi-time frame alignment, what does it do? It removes the guesswork. It's telling you that the stock is bullish and it's aligned with the S&P and the stock market. And if I open up the daily in the bottom right corner, you can see that the bars are blue, confirming that multi-time frame alignment. And of course, you have your entry points, your stop losses, and your levels that you can place in your broker account. If I just compress the chart just to show you how well the trailing stop loss works, if you look at when the trend started in November of 2023, you can see how well it's been trending. Look at the trailing stop loss. The stock hasn't come anywhere near this trailing stop loss. And that's fantastic, because what that means is that it allows your winners to run. Remember the mantras, guys. The trend is your friend until the bend at the end. Cut your losers short, let your winners run. People can regurgitate these sort of expressions all day long, but when it comes to implementation and execution, very few people know actually how to profit from these sort of expressions. And this is what I hope the Market Advantage Toolkit will help you do, guys. Move away from just words and theory and move to implementation. Okay, I think that is the last stock. Walmart. We have one final stock, Walmart, of course, guys. I don't know if you guys follow Walmart as a stock, but again, it's, of course, it's a giant of a company, but not all giant companies have good stocks. PayPal is a good example. PayPal stock is down 80%. Tesla's stock is a real mess. So not all giant companies have good stocks. Walmart is one of those that has a very, very good stock performance. You can see that it has your phase 1 history. It went through a long period of consolidation. It broke out into phase 3 in February of this year, and it has climbed since then and is in phase 4. If you look at the 3 time frames, bullish on the monthly, bullish on the weekly, bullish on the daily. And if we go to the daily in the bottom right corner, the bars have been blue since May of this year. And look at the trend, guys. I mean, you can't argue with that sort of trend. If I compress it just so that you guys can see how well it's being managed by the trailing stop loss. This trailing stop loss will allow you to stay in position for the duration of a good trend, which is typically 12 to 18 months before the next deep correction. And of course, you've got your entry points with the diamonds. You've got your stop losses, your target levels that you can use to compound. This subchart indicator here, by the way, again, this is one of our customized subchart indicators. It's called the BOQ, the breakout qualifier. It actually tells you how strong a breakout is. If it's green in a bull trend, you have strong bullish entries. If it's red or gray, you have weak bullish entries. And then you just reverse that logic in a bear market. Red are strong bearish entries, green are weak bearish entries. So you've got a subchart indicator that's actually qualifying the breakout for you. And then again, as already mentioned, It is all there in the expert commentary as well, bar by bar, breaking it all down for you. Okay, the last few slides, I'm just going to switch back over to my slides. Okay, and then we will end on the last few questions that may be coming through. Okay. Okay, so the MAT three-step blueprint. First of all, you want to pinpoint when to invest for maximum ROI. So that's where the S&P 500 comes in, and that multi-time frame alignment that I've showed you. That's part one. Use the S&P to pinpoint precisely when to invest. What that will do is remove all the noise that we are surrounded by on our media channels. It's nothing but noise, guys. Two, identify top trending stocks to invest in for maximum ROI. This is asset selection. So this is where the explorers come into their own. Those breakout explorers, the pullback explorers, the set for the UK market, the US market, the ones that can also be used for the Indian market. We've got explorers that will find the very best stocks from the strongest sectors. Now, that's another point that I haven't mentioned as yet. There are 11 major sectors in the stock market. If you go online, you only ever hear them talking about tech stocks, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, but there's 11 sectors. You've seen some of the stocks that I've shown: consumer discretionary, materials, industrials. These sectors have massive stocks that are performing very, very well. So your job as an investor is to be able to find them, these hidden gems. And that's where the explorers in Metastock come in. And then finally, you want to have a strategy. That's where your entry points, your stop losses, your risk management, your compound levels, that's where that all comes in. Again, that's all built in for you. You've got to learn to just use it. And again, this is, as I said earlier, this is the very same system and methodology that we use for our fund. So this is a proven concept that comes with massive, massive credibility. Okay, so your edge. I'm going to say this again, guys. If you cannot define your edge, you don't have one. And if you don't have an edge, you will get eaten by someone who does. You must have an edge. The Market Advantage Toolkit is your edge. You use the explorers to scan for the best performing stocks from the strongest sectors. Use the 4-screen setup that includes the tools, the expert advisors, and the commentary to shortlist the very best stocks into Tier A and Tier B. I alluded to that earlier. Tier B for phase 3, Tier A for phase 4. Create a risk management framework. It's very straightforward. Never risk more than 1 to 2% of your portfolio and have a max risk allocation. 20%, 30%, 40%. That's it. And stick to that. Use the daily bottom right to place positions in your broker account. So when we have that multi-time frame alignment, the bars turn blue, you've got the entry points and the stop losses, you can place them into your broker account. Place a set of positions, let's say 10 stocks. Then allow the market to take over. In an ideal world, all of them will be winners, and that can happen. But what is more likely to happen is a mixed bag. Some will be winners, some will be losers, some will be break even. Cut out of losers with a small loss. If you're risking 1 to 2%, cut out. But strategically hold and compound those winners. And that's how you will take your performance from 1, 2, 3%, 4% per stock to 10, 15, 20% per stock. I showed you earlier the returns that we've accumulated since last year. We're almost at 90%. We've almost doubled our account. If the markets continue over the coming days, weeks, we will have doubled our account since the start of last year. Then use the trailing stop loss in the daily bottom right to manage positions, take profit and rebalance every 12 to 18 months, and then repeat the process for life. Now, something that people tend to not have is a systematic approach that is simple to learn, simple to execute, and repeatable. Yes, there is a learning phase, but you have to earn your stripes. All walks of life have a learning phase. So you have to go through that learning phase, but it's actually not as difficult as you think. The challenge is doing the simple things again and again and again and again. And that's where people fail when it comes to investing. Good investing is simple, but not easy. The best techniques are simple to learn and execute. Repeating them day in, day out is where people fail. And then what you have here, guys, and I think this is something that is regularly overlooked, is that you then have a system that you can train your kids and your loved ones in to carry on your good work. what you have is a legacy. This is a legacy system so that you can train your kids, who can then train their kids, and generational wealth becomes more than a buzzword because the schooling system isn't going to do it for you. Financial literacy is poor. It's a pandemic that gets no media attention. So someone has to take the bull by the horns. That has to be you. You've got to learn the system. You've got to then train your kids, and they've got to run with it and do the same that you've done. Okay, so with the Market Advantage Toolkit, you get 16 explorers, you get 16 expert advisors, you get 11 bespoke indicators, 11 templates, a detailed manual explaining everything, a wonderful, wonderful manual that Metastock have put together, and then support structure from us here at Sublime Trading as well as Metastock. There's a one-time offer of $10,000 for the Market Advantage Toolkit, but with Black Friday coming out, with Black Friday happening this Friday, we have a 50% reduction on the price, and you have a one-time offer of $5,000. Now, what else do you get with the bundle? Well, there's going to be a one-to-one onboarding call with myself where we can discuss where you are and your portfolio. I'm also doing a live training day. The date is to be confirmed, but it's likely to be in August. You get access to a private community to discuss daily setups. And there's a monthly training webinar as well for the next 6 months. So the end of this 6-month period, with all of this involved, you're going to be as proficient as possible in using the Market Advantage Toolkit. Now, look, normally people put this all together, they put a value and then they drop the price. But I cannot do this because the system is priceless. And here's why it's priceless. There's 30 plus years of combined experience between the co-founders. That there's simply no price that you could put on the amount of time and effort and energy and money that's gone into refining the Market Advantage Toolkit. As I said, it's 15 years of myself that has led to me having my own hedge fund. And that's all come about by this system that we've created. It will save you thousands in creating the system yourself, thousands, tens of thousands, and not just in learning software, but money that you will potentially lose. It will save you endless hours creating the strategy yourself. It's a proven concept. We have our hedge fund as proof. And of course, you get that peace of mind. Your future is in your own hands. Often people feel that their future is running away from them. They're behind on their wealth goals. Not anymore, not with the MAT. And then, as I've already said, and this is something that I keep on drumming home, it's a system to pass on to your loved one. This is your legacy. So, already mentioned, $10,000 is what it is priced at. That is the one-time offer. We have a 50% reduction for Black Friday. It is $5,000 one-time offer, guys. That is yours for life. Okay. Bobby, over to you, please.
Yeah, Zaheer, a couple of questions. So, well, because you just were talking about pricing, I do quickly want to mention, so yes, you're right, we are doing the Black Friday and July sale. However, you don't have to wait until Friday. We are actually making it available right now through the week. So if you guys are interested in getting that, we can help you with that. I mean, you can come into our chat room, metastock.com/sales chat, and we can help you with that. Once I share my slides here in just a little bit, I can share the URL for an offer page to order that online too. And then also regarding pricing, someone has asked here, will the future upgrades be free or charged for new versions of the add-on?
For now, everything is free.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, you'll get free upgrades with that. And I'd say, normally the Market Advantage Toolkit is at the $10,000 price. So, I mean, amazing deal. This is the first time you'll find this offering anywhere. We have never done this promotion in any of our past presentations with Zaheer. So really fantastic offer here to get this, you guys. Also, it looks like there is one other question here regarding the strategy itself. If I can get over to the right screen, bear with me here. Someone wants to know, how does the system protect your portfolio during black swan events like the COVID crash? And also, does the ATR stop you out for protection and then you re-enter at a lower price?
Yeah, great question. So a black swan event is what it is. It's a black swan event. So the way to look at this is that a black swan event can happen any day of the week. Any day of the week. We could go away, I could go to the gym, come back, something's happened. So you want to ensure that you have good risk management and stop losses on your positions at all times. That's how you protect yourself from a black swan event. And that is all programmed into the system. The ATR, the stop loss, it depends on your strategy. If a stock pulls back and it hits the ATR stop loss, I cut out on my position. But if it's pulled back to a good support level and I use the pullback scanner, the Explorer, and it picks that stock up as a good pullback opportunity, then I will re-enter as a pullback. Otherwise, I simply discard it and wait for it until it breaks out. What you don't want to do is assume that a pullback is just a pullback that's going to reverse back up again. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I think so. Fantastic there. Let me see. I actually did just get a link to that I'm going to share in the chat where people can go to get this offer online. It also has our other Black Friday deals that we're offering. So if you don't have Metastock currently and you need it, you can do that as well. But primarily, this link is so that you can get the Sublime for the 50% off right now. And then I have just a couple of slides to share as well, Zaheer, if that's kind of everything you had.
Yes, absolutely. Over to you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. All right. Hey guys, let's give a big thank you to Zaheer. I see there are some already coming in on YouTube and everything. Always a fantastic job, Zaheer. I was really glad that we were able to kind of get this put together and that you were willing to, give such a big discount. I mean, that's really generous of you to the clients. I mean, 50% off for this, and I know all the time and effort that you've put into it. So this is fantastic here. Let me see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make myself the presenter. Guess I could turn on my camera for you guys. All right, so just to touch a little bit more on the Metastock side of things. So pretty much all the work, all the charts, everything you saw today was inside of Metastock, and Zaheer was using the Market Advantage Toolkit that he put together along with our team to kind of show everything to you guys. And also, as he mentioned, you get a one-on-one session with him. You get access to their private community, which, I follow along with it on a daily basis, and that is a fantastic resource to have all of that additional information in their community included. I also wanted to let you guys know, whether you're an existing customer of Metastock or you're going to be new to Metastock, we also offer a white glove setup and installation service at no additional cost to you. So we can help you install the software, make sure everything's working properly. We will also give you a one-on-one kind of demonstration and guidance on using Metastock itself, so that you're kind of comfortable just with the inner workings of the software. And then with your session with Zaheer, he'll really go into the Market Advantage Toolkit itself and kind of the inner workings of that and how you'll use it to really kind of take advantage of the markets. We do also offer like free unlimited support on top of that. So you can give us a call, you can chat with us in our live chat room, or send us an email too. And we have hundreds of recorded videos too to kind of help you get up and running, whether it's for the real basics or more advanced stuff. We do offer all of that at no additional charge, as long as you have a subscription or if you own Metastock. If you're wondering the pricing on Metastock itself, you can get our newly updated Metastock 19 starting as low as $59 a month. That's to include the software itself as well as a subscription to data for one region. Or if you want Metastock real time, that's going to give you intraday data. And if you have exchange fees live data, you also get news, fundamentals, and our Zenith platform as well, which we haven't really shown today. You can also get all of that starting at $210 a month or $265 plus exchange fees if you're looking for live data. Otherwise, it's at about a 10 to 15 minute delay. If you need a trial of Metastock, we can help you out with that too. You can visit metastock.com/Sublime 3-for-1, and that'll give you a buy 1 month, get 2 months for free, which you could pair along with the Market Advantage Toolkit. And another offer you guys can kind of take advantage of. So we have, historically we've done the Black Friday, after Thanksgiving, where we'll rotate different add-ons or things to be on sale, where you can get a really good savings there. And now we're doing a Black Friday in July sales event, similar to how you have like Amazon Prime doing their Prime Day right now, or Best Buy was just doing their Black Friday in July offer. So we're doing one right now too. And as mentioned earlier, thankfully, we were able to get Zaheer and his team to kind of agree to make the Market Advantage Toolkit available for this Black Friday and July sale. So you can actually save 50% on it. I mean, we do have a long list of different trading systems available, and we do kind of rotate through. We only ever make a handful of them on sale when we do events like this. So if this is a system that you're interested in, which I know you guys are attending, so you likely are, then I would highly recommend taking advantage of this sale, as you might not find it again to get that 50% off. So if we kind of look at it, yeah, it's normally the $10,000 lifetime purchase, but it's available for $4,997. We'll give you an extra $3 off to give you over 50% off there. And you guys can get this online by visiting this link. I will have Greg put it into the chat. I also put it into our GoToWebinar chat, but it's the metastock.com/BFJ24. That's for Black Friday and July 2024. And then PC equals EQ-Sublime. That'll let you get the offer. It'll also let you save on the purchase of Metastock. So you can save over $200 on the lifetime purchase of Metastock DC, or over $700 on the lifetime purchase of RT right now with this sale. It's only available during this week for Black Friday. So I would definitely take advantage of that. You can also just jump into our chat room, metastock.com/sales chat, and mention the promo code SublimeX, and they can help you take advantage of that, as well as answer any other questions that you might have inside of our live chat room. We do have representatives available now to answer any of your questions in there. And I guess with all of that being said, I think it's going to kind of round things up for today. I'm just checking to see if any other questions came through, and I'm not seeing any of them. I do see more appreciation for Zaheer. So thanks again, Zaheer. You always do a fantastic job. And all right, yeah, that looks like that's going to round things off for now. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your night, depending on where you're tuning in from. And we hope to see you at one of our next events. We will actually.
Hi, Kelly Clement here from Metastock. Before you go, I have 2 quick things for you. 1, thanks for joining us today. We love having you here at our webinars and viewing our videos. So what I'd like to invite you to do before you go is like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps us a great deal, and it helps us bring you more awesome content like today's video. The second thing is we have a great ebook on trading that you can get for free. If you go to metastock.com/YouTubebook, you can get a free copy of The Secrets of Successful Traders. It's a great book with lots of content from traders just like yourself, who can teach you some of the secrets that they have learned. Thanks for taking a second with me and learning about those 2 things. Thanks for joining us, and keep on trading.